Okay, here we are. Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to a brand new episode of 333 News. I know it's been a while, but here we are. I'm your news anchor Wario, and tonight we're going to be doing your full and detailed forecast of Winter Storm Fern, which is upcoming, and it's going to be a massive, multi-day, historic winter storm. It's going to be bringing some really serious impacts across many parts of the United States. So we're bringing back 333 News so we can make you a forecast for this storm because we believe it will be bringing some very historic impacts. And those are going to be happening all across the United States, stretching from Texas all the way up through here in New England. So 90% of this video is going to be of the meteorology studio, and we're just going to cut right to the chase. We're not going to delay any further. Here is your forecast. We're going to take it to Donkey Kong in the meteorology studio. Over to you, Donkey Kong. Alright, here we go. Welcome to the meteorology studio. I'm Donkey Kong, your meteorologist, and tonight we're going to be doing a ton of meteorology in the meteorology studio. I'm going to be the real star of the show here because we're going to be looking at Winter Storm Fern, probably the most major winter storm we have had in the 2020s so far. So, let's get started with your current conditions as always, and right now it is pretty breezy out there, a pretty crisp 13 degrees Fahrenheit, 45% relative humidity, the dew point is below zero. And we are looking at winds coming out of the northwest at around 16 miles an hour, so a cold, breezy night causing for wind chills of below zero. I would definitely be careful going outside because that's pretty cold. You want to make sure you're prepared for that. Otherwise, you could definitely get frostbite from it. So, yeah, that's your current conditions. Let's go to the map and radar screen. Yeah. Alright, so here we are at the map and radar screen. We have a lot of maps to show tonight, and some of them are going to be of the entire United States, and others will be localized, depending on what we're looking at here. So, first we're going to start with our latest European model run, so let's go ahead and get that up here. Thank you for doing that for me, Wario. You're going to be hearing some clicks in the background as we progress through all the maps and stuff, because we got a lot to show tonight. So, here we go. We're going to be just advancing through the latest European model run. And here's where we're starting right now, 1 a.m. when we are recording this. And we're just going to advance through here. That's not what I meant to do. Alright, how do I go back here? There we go. Okay, so let's just click through here and you can see the storm already starting out even tonight. So for some people it's going to be starting out right now. You can see a massive swath of ice going through Texas. Very far northern Louisiana, but mostly also Arkansas getting caught in there. And it's starting to peek its way into Alabama as well. And we got some snow on the northern end, so let's just continue to advance through that. Sorry if the loading and stuff pops up, but yeah, that's your European model run. So as we advance through here, you can see how the storm develops. We got this massive swath of ice, and we got snow on the northern end. And when we get to our forecast maps for what we're looking at for totals from the storm, you're going to see why this is so serious. And already you can see it's a very large system as we continue to advance through here. And by the time we get to around 8 a.m. on Sunday, it's going to be starting to peek its way up here into New England with some very major snowfall, as you can see. And as we continue to go through there, the ice is going to wrap up, and this starts to become a slightly more vertical system rather than a horizontal system as it's been starting out as. And we're going to be getting many hours of heavy, heavy snowfall here. So this is now 8 p.m. on Sunday. And you can see we're right in the middle of a giant snow band, and this is throughout the entirety of the northeastern United States. Look at that. And then as we continue here, the snow is going to continue into Monday, and it looks like it's going to be going overnight. And it is going to be starting to move out as we progress into Monday, but we're still going to be having some snow bands on the back end of the storm, as this does develop some nor'easter characteristics as well, so yeah, there we go. You can see we still have some tail end snow even in the afternoon hours on Monday. So This is going to result in some very significant snow totals for a lot of people. In fact, stretching all the way from around Oklahoma and Kansas all the way through New England here, we're going to be having potentially a foot plus of snow. So some gargantuan snow totals coming out of this. And as we get to Tuesday here, you can see it's pretty much all moved out, unless you're in Maine, where you can still be seeing some snow showers. So there you go. There's your European model run. And yeah. That's what we got for the model run there. Now let's go to our other maps that we have prepared for. And we're going to be starting out here with the snow total forecast for New England. This is one of the 2 local maps that we have. The rest of them are going to be national. So what you can see here with the snow forecast is some massive snow totals for a very large number of people. In fact, you can see pretty much almost the entire map is this orange color where we have 15 to 20 inches. And that means a lot of you are going to be seeing at least 15 inches of snow. Pretty much almost everybody going all the way back through where I mentioned further west, like Kansas and Oklahoma. We're going to be seeing at least a foot plus of snow. Pretty much just extremely northern New York and New England, there's going to be slightly less snow because the storm isn't going to reach that far north. So you're going to get a little bit less up there, but for the most part, we've got 15 to 20 inches for just about everybody here. And we have a couple of red zones, one in the Boston metropolitan area and another in southeastern New York, where we have some localized heavier snow bands forming that can result in 20 to 24 inches of snow. That is a lot of snow. This is going to be probably one of the most major storms of the entire decade. And we have not had a 2-foot plus blizzard since Keenan in 2022. So this is a pretty big deal here. But that's just your snowfall. Let's look at the other threats that we're looking at. The wind gust map here. So we're not expecting the winds to be a huge deal. There is a pretty decent chunk of 30 to 40 mile an hour gusts for most of southern New England, and we also have southeastern New York and New Jersey included in there. So yeah, we got some wind gusts on the table, but the wind is not expected to be that serious of a threat. So yeah. And you might be able to notice a slight 40 to 50 mile an hour gust area, which is really just going to be coastal New England and the islands. That's really it. So yeah, not much to speak for in the way of wind, but now we're going to get to what I really want to talk about here. The ice accumulation. Here is a national map of what we're expecting for ice accumulation, and this is really bad. All the way from New Mexico through even the south coast of southern New England, we are expecting some ice accumulation. And you can see there are some very dark spots there where we can see multiple inches of ice from this storm. That is a very serious amount, and this is a very wide area where we're going to be seeing this ice accumulation happening. So y'all better be prepared. This is really going to disrupt travel, and it's going to be cause for major power outage concerns as well, as you're going to be seeing very soon, because we also have a national map for power outages. But yeah, this is what we're looking at for ice, and this may rival that Canadian ice storm of '98, because this is a massive area of ice concerns and a lot of ice accumulation from just one system that's going to last a few days. So this is pretty serious. You better prepare. This is going to be a very major storm. Not because of the snow on its own, because we've also got this massive ice concern here. And here's your final map. The power outage map. And this is probably the craziest map that we have, because we have power outages expected for millions and millions of people on this map, stretching all the way from New Mexico to New England, as I had already mentioned with the ice concerns too. So that teal green shade is where we have possible power outage concerns, and that is wrapping around a lot of people. And then we get into the more concerning colors, isolated power outages for most people that are being impacted by the storm as well. We have scattered power outages stretching from most of southern New England down into Texas. So yeah, we expect power outages to happen for a lot of people, and the chance is lower where it's going to be purely snow and even in New England where we have some wind factored in, but not a lot, and the highest snow totals so far that we're expecting of this storm, we still only have it at scattered power outages because snow and some moderate to light wind isn't really going to do much in the way of power outages, but there is still grounds for concern. So stay alert. Doesn't mean that you're safe. We still have you in the yellow because there is a decent chance of power outages, but just not as high of a chance as when we get into the real heart of the storm where the ice is going to be happening. Numerous power outages expected from New Jersey down through Texas, and for the first time ever, we are using the red shade, the widespread shade. Anywhere where we're going to be expecting inches of ice accumulation, you are in the widespread power outage area because ice on the trees and power lines is going to be cause for probably a lot of people to go in the dark. So if you're in that red area, you should expect to lose power and prepare for that because the ice and the possible snow ahead of it, and I don't even know what the heck else might be happening beyond that, but with freezing rain being the main threat in those areas, you should be ready to lose power and have backup solutions ready. And you may also be in the dark for days, possibly even weeks, because this is expected to be a huge disaster. So that's what we got for the maps. Very concerning forecast here. This is going to be a historic storm, and let's go ahead and get into your threat levels. Yeah. Alright, so now we're going to be looking at the threat levels here for this storm, and these are very concerning as well. As I had already mentioned, we got some big concerns with this storm. Ignore the beeping in the background. Wario forgot to change out one of the smoke detector batteries. So, hopefully that hasn't bugged you too much, but pay attention to this. This is the real heart of the video here. Let's start at the top and work our way down. Snow is a level 4 threat because we are expecting at least a foot of snow for many, many people. And in some localized areas, it's going to be even beyond the foot, and that includes pretty much all of New England. Almost all of New England. Like, very northern New England is going to be just shy of that, but we're looking at a foot plus for tons of people here, and some localized areas that might get up to 2 feet of snow as well. With southern New England looking at the highest snow totals from the storm. Now, ice. This is a no-brainer here. Ice is a level 5 threat for this storm because we have a ton of people being impacted by the freezing rain here, and there's going to be some really high accumulations here. Like, a couple of inches may not sound like much when you're comparing it to 2 feet of snow, but we're talking about a much more dangerous form of precipitation here. And even just a quarter inch of ice can cause some problems. So imagine 2-3 inches of ice where we could be seeing some localized areas getting that much. That could be disastrous. That can have disastrous consequences. So, ice is going to be a level 5 threat. And that's why. Because we're expecting multiple inches of ice for a lot of people here. Next up, we got wind as a level 2 threat, because the wind really is not going to be much of a factor here. Why we still have it as moderate is because 30 to 40 mile an hour wind gusts for southern New England is notable still. We can't ignore that, but I don't really expect the wind to cause too much in the way of damage here. And, well, definitely can add to the concerns because it's going to be very cold for most of the storm. I think the worst it's going to do is blow some snow around. I don't think the wind's going to really contribute much to the storm. There is still the potential that it can, so that's why it's a level 2 and not a level 1, but the wind is really nothing in comparison to the rest of the threats we got here. Power outages. This should need no explanation either. Level 5 because of the widespread chance of power outages due to the ice accumulation for many, many people. And even where there's not going to be ice, there is still a decent chance of power outages if you're getting a lot of snow and even some wind thrown on top of it. This is a very huge storm that's going to last multiple days and impact a lot of states. I didn't even count how many. I'm too lazy to do that, but many people are being impacted by this, so Yeah, power outages is going to be a level 5 threat because we're expecting a ton of people to go in the dark. And then we got travel disruption down at the bottom, also a level 5. The snow, the ice, any sort of wintry precipitation will cause travel concerns, and as I mentioned, a large number of states is going to be feeling these impacts, so your Sunday and Monday commutes especially, and for those further west where the storm is already starting, even Saturday commutes, those are definitely going to be seeing some disruptions, and this could also result in a massive cleanup, after the storm is said and done with, because, well, a foot of snow is something you really can't deal with easily. There's going to be a pretty massive cleanup for the snow, and the ice is going to be even harder to deal with, especially if we're going to be getting cold afterwards, and as you're about to see, that is going to happen, so travel disruption is a huge concern, and for that, we have it at a level 5 threat. This is probably the first time that we've had multiple level 5 threats for any sort of storm. So, that's how you know it's really serious. And, yeah, those are your threat levels, and let's get to the 7-day forecast where the real kicker is going to happen. Yeah. Alright, so here's your 7-day forecast, and what you're going to notice is a lot of single digits. This is the first time in recent history that we have ever seen this happen. So, we're starting out with, it's 1:40 a.m. on Saturday, so we're starting out with Saturday here. We're going to be looking at a cold, sunny day. There might be some clouds here and there, but generally cold and sunny, and we are looking at winds that's going to be dying down throughout the day. High of 15 degrees and a low of 6. So it's going to be a pretty cold day, and then we have our storm moving in for Sunday and Monday. So Sunday we got heavy snow, 30 for a high and 7 for a low. We're going to be crawling up throughout the day on Sunday, so that 7 is going to be at the beginning of the day. Then on Monday, that's when the wind starts to hit. As we go through Sunday evening into Monday, that's when we start to see the wind become a factor. As the low moves offshore and starts to come up around New England, we're going to high of 32 and a low of 13. Once the storm begins to move out, the cold comes right back in. And the rest of the forecast is going to be pretty much the same, where it's going to be just cold and there's going to be sun and some occasional clouds, but the general consensus is very cold. So Tuesday, cold, sunny, 20 for a high, 10 for a low. Wednesday, 21 for a high, 3 for a low, once again cold and sunny. Thursday, another cold day, 18 for a high, 5 for a low. And Friday, I forgot to turn around, but here you go. For Friday, we have 22 for a high and 0 for a low, the lowest one that we have yet. So, a very cold forecast expected here. And this is coming right after a huge winter storm. And a huge winter storm followed by an Arctic blast of this potency is going to be some real trouble for you. That's just going to make the aftermath, way worse. It's going to last a lot longer. All of this frozen stuff that you're going to have on the ground is going to be able to just exist there. Not going to be able to leave for probably like a week. Like, there is no end in sight to this cold pattern once we get through with this winter storm. So, we got some pretty historic winter weather happening here, and I hope you're all prepared. You better take this one seriously, because, well, yeah, we just went through how serious it really is going to be, of historic proportions, and, well, that's all I got for you. So we're going to go ahead and take it back to Wario at the news desk. Back to you, Wario. Right, thank you, Donkey Kong. So, wow, that's a concerning forecast. Donkey Kong has just went through everything that you need to know about this winter storm. It's already starting to move in the more western areas it's going to impact, and then it's going to make its way up to the eastern areas starting tomorrow, lasting into Monday. So, it's like a 3-day system here. And he said it could even tail its way into Tuesday, so possibly even a 4-day system, which is really serious. This is crazy. This is crazy stuff we're looking at here. And Donkey Kong has also mentioned a foot plus of snow for many areas, and multiple inches of ice for many areas. This is something that I don't think we have ever seen before, so I'm going to go ahead and suggest some tips right now that you are probably going to need to prepare for the storm. Number 1, get some backup power supplies if you can. Like a gas generator is a good idea. Some UPSs that can supply some backup power to essential stuff like your computer, your Wi-Fi router. That way you're able to safely save your work and shut the thing down before anything gets corrupted. Something that you could use as a means of backup, like you can get a mini UPS or something. Get some power banks, flashlights, batteries. And if you're feeling really fancy, you can also get some power stations like an EcoFlow unit. Those can supply some backup power too, and you can get solar panels for those to recharge them on the fly. And if you're in those bullseye areas for the ice, you might be in the dark for days, so that would actually be a pretty good investment if you are able to at this point. Because I know time is running thin, so I would prepare now. Some other stuff you would need, probably water, food. Make sure you go stock up on stuff while you can. Because once the storm is here, that's it. It's game on. You're stuck with what you have. So, yeah. That's all I got for you. That's all we've got for you. Thank you for watching. I know this is going to be a crazy storm. Hopefully you're all prepared. I know this is going to be a really hard one to prepare for because these are impacts that I don't know if we've ever seen before. It's looking really crazy and it's going to make some history and definitely make its way into the record books. That's what we got for your full and detailed forecast of Winter Storm Fern. Good luck, because, well, let's be honest, you're going to need it. And that's all I got. Thank you for tuning in to this latest episode of 333 News, and I hope to see you in the next one. Wario out.